Good afternoon, students. Let me listen to you the notes related to the poem Everything written by Anna Akhmatova. The poem can be understood only with reference to the social and political situations in Russia of the 1920s. Anna Andreevna Gorenko, born in 1889 and demised in 1966, who is better known by the pen name Anna Akhmatova, was one of the most significant Soviet Russian poets of the 20th century. She was shortlisted for the Nobel Prize in 1965 and received second most nominations, that is 3 nominations for the award the following year. Akhmatova's work ranges from short lyric poems to intricately structured cycles such as Requiem, written in 1935 to 1940, her tragic masterpiece about the Stalinist terror. Her style, characterized by its economy and emotional restraint, was strikingly original and distinctive to her contemporaries. The strong and clear leading female voice struck a new chord in Russian poetry. Her work was condemned and censored by Stalinist authorities, and she is notable for choosing not to immigrate and remaining in the Soviet Union, acting as witness to the events around her. Her perennial themes include meditations on time and memory and the difficulties of living and writing in the shadow of Stalinism. Everything is Plundered was published in 1922, is one of the Russian poet Anna Akhmatova's most studied works. Akhmatova wrote the poem in 1921 during a time of tremendous social upheaval in Russia caused by the Russian Revolution of 1979, the Great Famine of 1921, and the slightly later Russian Civil War. This is how Anna feels about the times she lived. Quote, Death's great black wing scraps the air, misery gnaws to the bone. Unquote. The words misery, despair, and death all have the connotation of the feeling of sadness. These words show that Anna was feeling sadness at this point in her life when she was writing this poem. The Great Famine that ravaged Russia in 1921 and early 1922 was one of the worst human disasters of the 20th century. Triggered by natural causes but magnified by human policies and actions, this famine left millions of Russians malnourished, starving, and at risk from epidemics sweeping the country. The Great Famine reached its peak in 1921 and killed 5 million, perhaps as many as 8 million Russians. The famine was chiefly a natural disaster in the form of a severe drought, but it was worsened by years of war and forced grain supply by official order. Catastrophic drought in 1921 decimated agricultural production in Ukraine and southern Russia, where production fell. Shortages of food saw thousands of Russian peasants flee the countryside for cities like Moscow and Kiev, where they found no relief. Some survived by eating substitutes like weeds, bark, acorns, or the flesh of dead animals. There were also many reports of cannibalism and murder. Apart from this great famine, enormous tragedies unfolded in Russia in the first half of the 20th century. Joseph Stalin rose to power as General Secretary of the Communist Party in Russia, becoming a Soviet dictator after the death of Vladimir Lenin. Stalin forced rapid industrialization and the collectivization of agricultural land, resulting in millions dying from famine, while others were sent to labor camps. Stalinist industrialization was officially designed to accelerate the development towards communism, stressing the need for such rapid industrialization on the grounds that the Soviet Union was previously economically behind in comparison to Western countries, and asserting that socialist society needed industry in order to face the challenges posed by internal and external enemies of communism. Rapid industrialization was accompanied by mass collectivization of agriculture and by rapid urbanization. Rapid urbanization converted many small villages into industrial cities. To accelerate the development of industrialization, Stalin imported materials, ideas, expertise, and workers from Western Europe and the United States and pragmatically set up joint venture contracts with major American private enterprises. The pace of industrialization, in order to catch up with the West, was increased. With this background, the poem Everything is, even though short, only 3 stanzas long, but it has a powerful statement of hope in a time of great destruction and death. Akhmatova juxtaposes bleak images of despair with beautiful images of the natural world, suggesting that a mysterious something always happens. She is referring to the life spirit that soothes us in spite of horrendous tragedies that strike us. She wonders as to how people who suffer so tragically have such power to inspire us to rise above suffering. She is excited to know as to how the human soul that makes it shine like gold when the fire is hottest. The poem achieves additional poignancy when the reader discovers that it was written just 2 months before Akhmatova's first husband was arrested and then shot as a counter revolutionary. This event deeply marked Akhmatova's work and life. Primary sources of information about Akhmatova's life are relatively scant, as war, revolution, and the Soviet reign caused much of the written record to be destroyed. For long periods, she was in official disfavor, and many of those who were close to her died in the aftermath of the revolution. Akhmatova's first husband, Nikolai Gumilyov, was executed by the Soviet secret police, and her son, Lev, spent many years in the Gulk, that is, forced labor camps. Now, with reference to this poem, we need to understand the emigration of intellectuals and intellectual counter-revolution. In the early 1920s of Russia, ideological divisions had not yet hardened to the point of eliminating all human feeling. In the telling instant, the secret police officers monitoring the launch of the philosophy steamer raised their hands in salute as it left the harbor, shouting, "We are all Russians, why is this happening?" Philosophy steamer or philosopher's ships, also known individually as philosopher's steamboat, is a term used for steamships which transported intellectuals expelled from Soviet Russia in 1922. The Stalinist era gave the Russian intellects a distorted offensive forum which left permanent scars on them as human beings and forced to attack vigorously through hostile intellectual currents. In the Stalinist legacy, there was an ever widening gap between word and deed in the perverted glasnost imposed on the population, in the spiritual withdrawal by intellectuals labeled inner emigration, in the unpleasant interpersonal style aimed at debunking official realities through exaggerated irony and sarcasm, and the resultant pattern of self-loathing revealed by intellectuals alienated from society, from each other, and from their public selves. The Stalinist social technologies stifled personal voice, drove private feelings inside, installed false consciousness in place of freely chosen convictions, and replaced the curative powers of dialogue with the numbing force of propaganda. At the same time, in Russia, the manufacturing of evidence, the manipulation and rewriting of the legal code, and the government's bold and without shame lying to its own people and the West increased. The legal grounds for expelling poets or writers and transcripts of interrogations make particularly chilling reading. Some intellectuals were marked down by the secret police for such offences as, quote, knows a foreign language, unquote, or, quote, is ironic and fools about in his lectures, etc. Their fatal weakness was to be cultivated humanists with no political program other than a belief in personal liberty and the importance of moral values rooted in religion. The language of totalitarianism was unintelligible to them. The poem Everything takes on vast meaning when it is known how much suffering and betrayal stalked this woman's life. She was praised by other writers and poets but condemned by her own government. The poem ends with a note of hope. Anna Akhmatova feels in the end that there is no need to despair because, quote, by day from the surrounding woods cherries blow summer into town. At night the deep transparent skies glitter with new galaxies. And the miraculous comes so close to the ruined dirty houses. Unquote. The poem celebrates the life energy that thrusts us going forward even in harsh situations, just as nature is, in utter silence but with dignity. Everything is plundered. This poem appears as Everything Has Been Plundered in the complete poems of Anna Akhmatova, published in 1997, translated by Judith Hamshemia and edited with an introduction by Roberta Reeder. Thank you.